Alright, g'day everyone. We are here with break 276, the first of our mini breaks that we're doing, which includes the 24 Traders hobby boxes, the 24 Traders Priority Box, as well as the 24 Traders starter packs, and we have the bonus 21 Traders box. And obviously it'd be nice to hit a Laurie Daly or a Mark Graham Legends in that, but we have Panthers, Predictors, Black Sigs, plenty of opportunity in that. We'll leave that one, the 21 Traders, till last. Obviously no Dolphins cards in that. Let's get the team list and the chat screen up. There we are. G'day, buddy. Alright, our team list for today: Broncos, Cameron Dawson; Raiders, Jason Slosh; Bulldogs, Harry Zorden; Sharks, Stephen Gillard; Dolphins, Trent Kinnersley; Titans, Adam Gregson; Manly, Adam Gregson; Storm, Bobby Seary; Knights, Trent Kinnersley; Cowboys and Eels, Peter Lowe; Panthers, Trent; Rabbitohs, Peter Lowe; Dragons, Stephen Gillard; Roosters, Dean Mick; Warriors, Trent; and Tigers, Harry. Alright, let's get that forward. Let's start on the starter packs. Their sleeves. Gold, number 6. Is he 6 or 7? Jerome Hughes. I'm not sure, that could be jersey number. I think he's 7. There we go. No trades today. Number 40 in the copper, Jerome Luai. In the gold, Maya Hill Moana, number 47. In the gold, number 8, Saratoga Tuki. In the copper, number 153, David Fafita for the Titans. That number's a bit hard to read, so I don't know how it shows up on camera. In the silver, number 87, Jerome Luai. In the silver, number 122, Anessa Biddle for the Sharks. Another one in the gold, number 71, Valami Kickout. Dad, Kim. Few golds out of these, doing well. Yes, we actually had our first few perfect rounds in the tipping comp since round 2 was our last perfect round. Number 113, Racing McGregor for the Dragons. In the silver, number 31, Jerome Hughes. Alright, let's get these packets open. Dolphins Parallel Checklist. Rising Stars, Ebony Pryor for the Tigers. Dane Gagai, parallel for the Knights. World in League, Lachlan Ilias for the Rabbitohs. Regan Campbell Gillard, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Gordon Tong for Manly. Addo Carr, parallel for the Bulldogs. Women's NRL, Taylor Preston for the Sharks. Mikala Ravalawa, parallel for the Dragons. Season 2 remember, Mitchell Moses for the Eels. Hudson Young, parallel for the Raiders. Anyone watching, don't forget we still have a couple of spots left in the case break, which is looking like it will be our last case break. Tiana Smith, Rising Stars for the Cowboys. We also have the Knights listed as a Raz spot in the Facebook group. Storm Parallel Checklist to try and get that one moved along. Season to remember, Kira Dibb for the Cowboys. Broncos Parallel Checklist. Rising Stars, Jada Taylor for the Sharks. Jermaine Isako, parallel for the Dolphins. Parallel, Lindsay Collins for the Roosters. Sword and Shield, Damien Cook for the Rabbitohs. Mawaki Fotuaika, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Jareen Buller for the Tigers. Chad Townsend, parallel for the Cowboys. Season to remember, Hudson Young for the Raiders. Jacob Kiros, parallel for Bulldogs. Shael Aretti, World in League for the Raiders. Broncos Parallel Checklist. I'm actually surprised Mum was a bit quiet today. Half Broncos beating the Eels. Rising Stars, Lindsay Smith for Panthers. Jermaine Isako, parallel for the Dolphins. Season to remember, Jesse Southwell for the Knights. Damien Cook, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Parallel, Damien Cook for the Rabbitohs. Showcase, Blake Laurie for the Dragons. Reece Walsh, parallel for the Broncos. Initials. Number 181, Jeremiah Nanai for the Cowboys. Mawaki Fotuaka, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Dylan Lucas for the Knights. Chad Townsend, parallel for the Cowboys. Showcase, Ruben Cotter for the Cowboys. Jacob Kiraz, parallel for the Bulldogs. Club Heroes, Tyrone Munro for the Rabbitohs. Toby Sexton, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Jonah Pezzett for the Storm. Big Tino, parallel for the Titans. Season to remember, Luke Keary for the Roosters. Jermaine Hopgood, parallel for the Eels. Season to remember, Ryan Pappenhausen for the Storm. Tommy Turbo, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Ronald Volkman for the Warriors. First Warriors card. James Fisher-Harris, parallel for Panthers. Parallel, Sean Bloor for the Tigers. Got 3 packets left out of the starter packs. World in League, Mitchell Moses for the Eels. Dylan Zalesniak, parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Ruby Ellis for the Eels. Siva Talakai, parallel for the Sharks. Caitlin Johnston, Women's NRL for the Knights. Jacob Saifiti, parallel for the Knights. And that's the end of the starter packs, guys. I'll move these ones to the side. And let's get into these. Box number 1. Rising Stars, Destiny Brill for the Broncos. Panthers, Parallel Checklist. Sword and Shield, Jake Trbojevic for Manly. Jason Taumalolo, Parallel for the Cowboys. Club Heroes, Jacob Preston for the Bulldogs. Luke Keary, Parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Tallis Duncan for the Rabbitohs. Latrell Mitchell, Parallel for the Rabbitohs. Women's NRL, Jocelyn Keller for the Roosters. Tony Staggs, Parallel for the Broncos. Season to remember, Jamie Chapman for the Titans. Jordan Rapana, Parallel for the Raiders. Showcase, David Clemmer for the Tigers. Jesse Bromwich, Parallel for the Dolphins. Rising Stars, Carl for the Bulldogs. Phoenix Crossland, Parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Francesca Goldthorpe for the Cowboys. Will Warbrick, Parallel for the Storm. Sword and Shield team for the Panthers. Ben Hunt, Parallel for the Dragons. World in League, Jacob Carraz for the Bulldogs. Warriors, Parallel Checklist. Season to remember, Luke Metcalf for the Warriors. Brighton Nakora, Parallel for the Sharks. World in League, Adam Dewey for the Tigers. Bryce Cartwright, Parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Eliza Salata for the Tigers. John Bateman, Parallel for the Tigers. World in League, Parallel, Mitchell Moses for the Eels. Daly Cherry Evans, Parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Sua Wong for the Roosters. Reid Marnie, Parallel for the Bulldogs. Oh, black. Number 11. Abby Church for the Eels. Peter Lowe. Parallel, Liam Martin for the Panthers. Season 2 member Mitchell Moses for the Eels. Alexander Brimson, parallel for the Titans. While hitting that black in a full box out of the case, that's pretty good. Rising Stars, Ronald Volkman for the Warriors. Tolso Koala, parallel for Manly. Gold parallel, Panthers Checklist, number 70. Kieran Foran, parallel for the Titans. Season to remember, Emma Tanigato for the Sharks. Brian Totter, parallel for Panthers. Rising Stars, Jesse Southwell for the Knights. Cowboys, parallel checklist. Club Heroes, Milwaukee Fotowaka for the Titans. Campbell Graham, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Showcase Bunty Afawa for the Warriors. Brendan Smith, parallel for the Roosters. Sword and Shield, Clint Guppo for the Eels. Payne Haas, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Trey Mooney for the Raiders. Raiders parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Tom Jenkins for Panthers. Isaiah Katoa, parallel for the Dolphins. Women's NRL, Keezy Apps for the Tigers. Nelson Asafa Solomona, parallel for the Storm. Season to remember, Jaden Ockenball for the Bulldogs. Bradman Best, parallel for the Knights. Women's NRL, Emma Tanigato for the Sharks. Sean Johnson, parallel for the Warriors. Emma looking confident in the Sky Blues this morning. As soon as being interviewed. Go the Blues. World League, Serena for the Sharks. Tyrell Sloan, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Tom Weaver for Titans. Renato Militalo, parallel for the Sharks. You got 4 packets left for the box. World League, Mitchell Moses for the Eels. Adam Dewey, parallel for the Tigers. Rising Stars, Ella Costa for the Dragons. Junior Paulo, parallel for the Eels. Women's Gold parallel, Taylor Preston for the Sharks, number 207. Amoli Olika R2 parallel for Manly. Season to remember, Jackson Paulo for the Roosters. Belami Kickout parallel for Bulldogs. And that's the end of the first box. Let's go box number 2. Here, one of these breaks listed this morning. Campbell Gray and Club Heroes for the Rabbitohs. David Fafita, parallel for the Titans. Sword and Shield, Isaiah Papali'i for the Tigers. Reece Robson, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Kayla Romniak for the Knights. Jesse Ramian, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars for the Cowboys. Jai Arrow, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Season to remember, Xavier Coates for Storm. Kurt Capewell, parallel for the Broncos. Abby Church, Women's NRL for the Eels. Tom Gilbert, parallel for the Dolphins. Pauline Razabel, gold parallel for the Tigers, number 173. William Kennedy, parallel for the Sharks. Retirement, Renee Target for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Dean Madison for Manly. Kalen Ponga, parallel for the Knights. World in League, Joseph Tarpanay for the Raiders. Jackson Ford, parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Jada Taylor for the Sharks. Ezra Mam, parallel for the Broncos. Season to remember, Valentine Holmes for the Cowboys. Dylan Edwards, parallel for Panthers. World in League, Jacob Saifiti for the Knights. Felice Kafusi, parallel for the Dolphins. Club Heroes, Tamika Upton for the Knights. Jake Chboyevich, parallel for Manly. Apasai Coruscant, season to remember for the Tigers. Daniel Saifiti, parallel for Knights. Rising Stars, Terrell May for the Roosters. Tigers, Parallel Checklist. Rising Stars, Ruby Ellis for the Eels. Chance Nico Klokstad, Parallel for the Warriors. Parallel World in League, Meli Hafunga for the Broncos. Nico Hines, Parallel for the Sharks. Running Machines, Greg Marshew for the Knights, number 14. Junior Tupou, Parallel for the Tigers. World in League, Justin Olam for the Storm. Jamal Fogarty, Parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Blake Moser for the Broncos. Jerome Hughes, Parallel for Storm. Women's NRL, Shanae Siasolka for the Broncos. Roosters, Parallel Checklist. Season to Remember, Ben Trbojevic for Manly. Jack DeBellin, Parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Keanu Kinney for the Titans. Isaac Tago, Parallel for the Panthers. In gold, Parallel, Tom Gilbert for the Dolphins, number 25. Mitchell Moses, Parallel for the Eels. Showcase, Reed Marnie for the Bulldogs. Lachlan Croker, Parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Jonah Pezzett for the Storm. Matt Burton, Parallel for the Bulldogs. Season to Remember, Mikhail Ravalawa for the Dragons. Apasai Coruscant, Parallel for Tigers. Rising Stars, Jacob Preston for the Bulldogs. Jaden Sewer, Parallel for the Dragons. Season to Remember, Jamal Fogarty for the Raiders. Clint Guffo, Parallel for the Eels. Sword and Shield, Cameron McInnes for the Sharks. Bulldogs, Parallel Checklist. World in League, Alex Johnston for the Rabbitohs. Cameron Munster, Parallel for Storm. Fifth last packet out of our second box, Rising Stars, Dream Buller for the Tigers. And Philip Semi, Parallel for the Titans. Sword and Shield team for the Dragons. Matthew Tomoko, Parallel for the Raiders. Women's NRL, Tamika Upton for the Knights. Tommy Dearden, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Benjamin Lovett for the Rabbitohs. James Tedesco, parallel for the Roosters. Jaden Campbell, showcase for the Titans. And Tavita Tatola, parallel for the Rabbitohs to finish us off. Well, another box done and dusted. Let's get these cleaned up and we'll move into box number 3. Let's go, box number 3. Excuse me, season to remember, Kira Dibb for the Cowboys. Daly Cherry Evans, parallel for Manly. Now, is that a burp and a yawn all at the same time? Yay. Rising Stars, Thomas Kent for the Knights. John Bateman, parallel for the Tigers. I'm shocking when I sit still for too long. Sword and Shield, Tyson Frizzell for the Knights. Liam Martin, parallel for Panthers. Retirement, Josh Reynolds for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Ethan Strange for the Raiders. And Latrell Mitchell, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Shante for the Titans. Daniel Tupou, parallel for the Roosters. Women's NRL, Pauline Razabel for the Tigers. Corey Horsburgh, parallel for the Raiders. Showcase, Tyson Frizzell for the Knights. Harry Grant, parallel for the Storm. Club Heroes, Isaiah Yeo for the Panthers. Tony Staggs, parallel for the Broncos. Season to remember, Ryan Pappenhausen for the Storm. Jesse Bromwich, parallel for the Dolphins. Rising Stars, Jada Ferguson for the Broncos. Zach Lomax, parallel for the Dragons. World in League, Sia Sifatalakai for the Sharks. Jermaine Hopgood, parallel for the Eels. Season to remember, Hudson Young for the Raiders. Toby Sexton, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Toby Couchman for the Dragons. Phoenix Crossland, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Jack Howarth for the Storm. Big Tino parallel for the Titans. World in League parallel, April for the Cowboys. Scott Drinkwater parallel for the Cowboys. Sword and Shield team for the Knights. Warriors parallel checklist. Authentic initials, Millie Boyle for the Roosters, number 47. Rabbitohs parallel checklist. World in League, Georgia Roach for the Knights. Brighton Nakora parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Mason Teague for the Dolphins. Ronaldo Multalo parallel for the Sharks. Season to remember, Matthew Feagai for the Dragons. Adam Dewey parallel for the Tigers. Greg Marsu parallel for, nope, one too far. Rising Stars, Hopawate for the Roosters. Cowboys parallel checklist. Gold parallel, Regan Campbell Gillard for the Eels. Where are we? Number 8. Parallel, Hamoli Olaka R2 for Manly. Rising Stars, Jesse Colquhoun for the Sharks. Panthers parallel checklist. Season to remember, Nathan Cleary for Panthers. Regan Campbell Gillard parallel for the Rabbitohs. Club Heroes, Taryn Aiken for the Roosters. Luke Keary parallel for the Roosters. Sword and Shield, Corey Horsburgh for the Raiders. Jordan Rapiner parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Brendan Hands for the Eels. Will Warbrick parallel for the Storm. Showcase, Jerome Hughes for the Storm. Payne Haas parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Ebony Pryor for the Tigers. Isaiah Katoa parallel for the Dolphins. Season to remember, Ruben Garrick for Manly. Ben Hunt parallel for the Dragons. Women's NRL, Hannah Southwell for the Knights. Bryce Cartwright, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Ali for the Warriors. Reid Marnie, parallel for the Bulldogs. Women's NRL, Elsie Albert for the Eels. Bradman Best, parallel for the Knights. World in League, Lachlan Ilias for the Rabbitohs. Alexander Brimson, parallel for the Titans. 2 packets left, box number 3. Gold parallel, Jasmine Peters for the Gold Stars, number 114. Jason Tormalolo, parallel for the Cowboys. World in League, Shale Retty for the Raiders and Sean Johnson, parallel for the Warriors. Box number 4, the last of our hobby boxes. Well, for 24 traders anyway, we still have 21 traders that we're saving for the end. Club Heroes, Samima Torfa for the Raiders. Micah Sivo, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Jada Ferguson for the Broncos. Tamar Martin, parallel for the Warriors. Season to remember, Mackenzie Wiki for the Raiders. Max King, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Thomas Cant for the Knights. Titans parallel checklist. Women's NRL, Cassie Hiku for the Eels. Blake Brayley, parallel for the Sharks. Showcase, Tolatoa Koala for Manly. Jareen Buller, parallel for the Tigers. Sword and Shield for the Eels. Murray Talagi, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Jack Howarth for the Storm. Manly, parallel checklist. World in League, Sanua Taruva for the Panthers. Cody Walker, parallel for the Rabbitohs. World in League, Elliot Whitehead for the Raiders. Isaiah Yeo, parallel for Panthers. Season to remember, Cameron McInnes for the Sharks. Victor Radley, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Toby Couchman for the Dragons. Jack Bird, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Shante Aratu for the Titans. Selwyn Cobbo parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Zach Labour for the Cowboys. Big Papa parallel for the Raiders. World in League, Dave Fafita parallel for the Titans. Christian Welsh parallel for the Storm. Season to remember, Luke Brooks for Tigers. For Lance to wear parallel for Dolphins. And another set of initials, Reed Marnie for the Bulldogs, number 105. These ones, the one I'm doing now is $95 a spot, and we've just listed a new one of these this morning. Once again, 105, Reed Marnie initials. Blake Laurie parallel for the Dragons. Sword and Shield, Cameron Munster for the Storm. Greg Marshall parallel for the Knights. Season to remember, Nick Meaney for Storm. No worries. And if you're in the Facebook group, I've got the team list up there. So when it's finished, we'll randomise the spots and everyone can trade teams. Reece Welsh parallel for Broncos. I'm not sure if anyone's seen it this morning, but we did put the team list up once it was sold out and allowed trades, but no trades. Jesse Colquhoun, Rising Stars for the Sharks. Alex Johnston, parallel for the Rabbitohs, which I do know a lot of people now like to just keep the teams they have. They hate trading and watching that team do well. Zach Lomax, gold parallel for the Dragons, number 24. Dolphins parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Brendan Hands for the Eels. Dane Gagai, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Ebony Pryor for the Tigers. Storm parallel checklist. Club Heroes, Blake Brayley for the Sharks. Tohu Harris parallel for the Warriors. Sword and Shield, Felice Kafusi for the Dolphins. Cameron McInnes parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Ali for the Warriors. Stefano Utokumanu parallel for the Tigers. Season to remember, Daly Cherry Evans for Manly. Mikhail Ravalawa parallel for the Dragons. Season to remember, Scott Drinkwater for the Cowboys. Ben Trbojevic parallel for Manly. Julie Robinson, Women's NRL for the Broncos. Jerome Luai, parallel for Panthers. Showcase Corey Horsburgh for the Raiders. Regan Campbell-Gillard, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Mason Teague for the Dolphins. Addo Carr, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Ethan Strange for the Raiders. Jared Rero-Hargraves, parallel for the Roosters. We've got fourth last packet in our fourth box. World in League, Racine McGregor for the Dragons. Sebastian Chris, parallel for the Raiders. Women's NRL, Mackenzie Wheel for the Cowboys. Jaden Campbell, parallel for the Titans. Alright, next up we'll do the priority box, leaving the 21 Traders box till last. Abby Church, gold parallel for the Eels, number 29. Xavier Coates, parallel for Storm. And our last packet for the box. World in League, Katoni Staggs for the Broncos. Jeremiah Nanai, parallel for the Cowboys. As I don't remember calling it out, if I accidentally miss calling out the parallel version of the World in League, I do apologise. Unless I actually look at the back, half the time I can't tell. Some of them I recognise now, we've done a few of them, but yeah, no promises. I just don't remember calling it out in that box. Obviously in the priority we don't have that issue. It's pretty and sparkly. It's a bit hard to miss. Alright, here we go. Rising Stars, Talon De Silva for the Tigers. Jermaine Isako, parallel for the Dolphins. Season to remember, Mikhail Ravalawa for the Dragons. Jacob Saifiti, parallel for the Knights. Showcase, Ronaldo Mulatalo for the Sharks. Dallin Lateem Zelezniak, parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Thomas Hazelton for the Sharks. Sifa Talakai, parallel for the Sharks. Taylor Preston, Women's NRL for the Sharks. Sean Bloor, parallel for Tigers. World in League, Gail Broughton for the Broncos. Tom Trbojevic, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Rumi Grieg for the Eels. James Fisher-Harris, parallel for Panthers. Season to remember, Ben Trbojevic for Manly. Lindsay Collins, parallel for the Roosters. Kalen Ponga, gold parallel for the Knights, number 58. Hudson Young, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Tane for the Warriors. Storm, parallel checklist. Club Heroes, number 24, Blake Laurie for the Dragons. Mikhail Ravalawa, parallel for the Dragons. Sword and Shield, Nat Butcher for the Roosters. Regan Campbell-Gillard, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Holly Dodd for the Raiders. Addo Carr, parallel for the Bulldogs. Season to remember, Xavier Coates for Storm. Jaden Campbell, parallel for the Titans. Women's NRL, Taryn Aiken for the Roosters. Jeremiah Nanai, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Ryan Couchman for the Dragons. Alex Johnston, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Jaden Sewer, World in League for the Dragons. Reece Walsh, parallel for the Broncos. Gold parallel, Gale Broughton for the Broncos, number 46. Dolphins parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Ryan Rivet for the Knights. Dane Gagai, parallel for the Knights. Club Heroes, Isaiah Katoa, number 5 for the Dolphins. Tohu Harris, parallel for the Warriors. Retirement, Josh Reynolds for the Bulldogs. Greg Marshew, parallel for the Knights. Season to remember, Valentine Holmes for the Cowboys. Karen McInnes, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Star, Sanua Taruva for Panthers. Stefano Utakamanu, parallel for the Tigers. Sword and Shield team number 1. There we go. For the Knights. Ben Boyich, parallel for Manly. World in League, Jerome Luai for Panthers. Jerome Luai, parallel for Panthers. World in League, parallel number 2. Holly Dodd for the Raiders. For Lance to wear, parallel for the Dolphins. Rising Stars, Sienna Lafipu for the Titans. Jodie Hargraves, parallel for the Roosters. Season to remember, Jamal Fogarty for the Raiders. Sebastian Chris, parallel for the Raiders. Sword and Shield, Dream Buller for the Tigers. Xavier Coates, parallel for the Storm. Rising Stars, Robert Derby for the Cowboys. Selwyn Cobbo, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Xavier Wilson for the Broncos. Jack Bird, parallel for the Dragons. Women's NRL, Shaylee Bent for the Titans. Micah Sivo, parallel for the Eels. Got 4 packs left for the Priority Box. Showcase Dylan Edwards for Panthers. Max King, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Will Warbrick for Storm. Titans, parallel checklist. World in League, Holly Dodd for the Raiders. Murray Talagi, parallel for the Cowboys. And last packet for 24 Traders. Season to remember, Apasai Coruscant for the Tigers. And Cody Walker, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Alright. Put these ones away. And last but not least, our 21 Traders Box. Let's see how we go. Laurie Daly, Mark Graham, and Legends. And we've got the first of the 3-peat Panthers. We score a Panthers predictor. Plus we got all the Black Sigs. Rising Stars, Cade Ellis for the Dragons. Raymond Faitala Mariner, parallel for the Bulldogs. I'm not going to lie, I had to look up the category on the website before we went live. What we got? Club Heroes, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck for the Warriors. Jake Turpin, parallel for the Broncos. White Streeter, Josh Jackson for the Bulldogs. Elliot Whitehead, parallel for the Raiders. Season to remember, Kalen Ponga for the Knights. Chanel Harris Tavita parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Cooper Johns for the Storm. Jared Riera-Hargraves parallel for the Roosters. Parallel Cody Walker for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Charlie Staines for Panthers. George Williams parallel for the Raiders. Wildcard Wade Graham for the Sharks. Dragons parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Hayes Perham for the Warriors. Blake Brayley parallel for the Sharks. Black Streeter, Jake Trbojevic for Manly. Brian Kelly parallel for the Titans. Season to remember, young Tona Maipe for the Titans. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck parallel for the Warriors. Parallel Jake Friend for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Herbie Farnworth for the Broncos. Adam Reynolds parallel for the Rabbitohs. Wildcard, Cody Walker for the Rabbitohs. Ben Hunt parallel for the Dragons. Season to remember, Cameron Smith for Storm. Hammer Fido parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Phoenix Crossland for the Knights. Coda Sirenen parallel for Manly. Startoons, Luke Brooks for the Tigers. Aaron Woods parallel for the Sharks. Alright, halfway through our final box. Clint Guffo, Freddy Lussick, Rising Stars for the Roosters. Junior Paulo parallel for the Eels. Lachlan Fitzgibbon parallel for the Knights. Wildcard Felice Kafusi for Storm. Jesse Bromwich parallel for Storm. Startoons, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck for the Warriors. James Tedesco parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Semi Valemi for the Raiders. Damien Cook, parallel for the Raiders. Parallel, Mikhail Ravalawa for the Dragons. Micah Sivo, season term for the Eels. Sharks parallel checklist. Retirements, Chris Lawrence for the Tigers. Parallel, Dylan Edwards for Panthers. Rising Stars, Brendan Wakeham for the Bulldogs. Corey Thompson, parallel for the Titans. Jordan McLean, parallel for the Cowboys. Wildcard, Apasai Coruscant for the Panthers. Daly Cherry Evans, parallel for Manly. There we go. 8 packets left to go. Rising Stars, Cade Cust for Manly. Mitchell Barnett, parallel for Knights. White Streeter, Josh Mansell for Panthers. Jerome Hughes, parallel for Storm. Season to remember, Martin Tapau for Manly. Alex Twell, parallel for the Tigers. 5th last packet. Season to remember, Gavin Cooper for the Cowboys. Dylan Brown, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Connor Tracy for the Sharks. Stephen Crichton, parallel for Panthers. Alright, 3 packets left. Tigers parallel checklist. Team wildcard for the Rabbitohs. Jake Averillo, parallel for the Bulldogs. And last packet. Rising Stars, Tommy Talau for the Tigers. And Patrick Carrigan, parallel for the Broncos. Well guys, that's it. No more randomizations for this break and no more packets. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget we have a new one listed on the website as well as a few spots left in our case break. Hope to see you next time. Until then, that's it. That's all. Hope